What is good, Ninja? OJ over here from Player Essence, and welcome to another PE News video. Today, we're going to be discussing how Tatsumi Kimishima plans to sell 20 million Nintendo Switches for the upcoming year. We're also going to be talking about the left Joy-Con fix Nintendo submitted to the FCC, and some issues over Nintendo's eShop practices when it comes to the Norwegian Council. So let's go ahead and get right into this. And we are starting off with the current man that's about to be out as president with Nintendo, and that is Tatsumi Kimishima, and he basically says that all of the games to sell 20 million units for the upcoming fiscal year are ready to go. They're in place. So let's talk about this, because I know I have a lot to say. I've talked about it already, but I want to talk about it in a more formal matter and kind of give my thoughts on everything that's going on here. So shout outs to Nintendo Soup, Go Nintendo, everyone who's reporting on this, and of course Nintendo had the links to what they said to their investors as well. So during Nintendo's Q&A session for investors, retiring Nintendo president Tatsumi Kimishima was asked about the reason why they expect to sell 20 million Nintendo Switches for the upcoming fiscal year, which ends in March 2019. That is a tall task, that is a big order, and Nintendo did not sell that much in the last year, so investors are saying, okay, well, what are you guys going to do to increase it? So rightfully so, investors are like, okay, well, what's going on here? Now, Tatsumi Kimishima answered the investors firstly by saying that Nintendo is planning and developing video games targeted at people who have not been playing video games recently, and games that people would potentially be interested in. Kimishima also stated that the ingredients required to achieve 20 million consoles goal in terms of what they have planned have been put in place. By ingredients, we can kind of just say here that Nintendo's already has an idea of what Switch titles will be dropping in 2018 and in early 2019. A lot of people are focusing on just on 2018, but you should probably also be focusing on 2019 as well, because remember, the year does end when it comes to the 20 million. It's not just by the end of 2018, it's by the end of March 2019. So you should also be focusing on stuff that can drop in January, February, and March of 2019. We saw Kirby Star Allies come out, and that actually gave a pretty decent boost when it comes to sales worldwide. That could have helped out if Nintendo was maybe not as close to their goal as they would have hoped, but thankfully they were already over their goal and what they wanted to do. So this is what I think this means. I think Nintendo's going to continue doing stuff like Labo, right? You're going to see like more Labo Toy-Con kits. I think that's going to help in terms of the expanded audience out there. But I also think what he means by that is Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing has always been targeted at people who necessarily don't go hardcore into gaming. Now, I know that people who play Animal Crossing are also hardcore gamers as well, but it's always been targeted into people who aren't as hardcore into gaming. So I think that means Animal Crossing. We know about Super Smash Brothers. That's going to be a hit game for Nintendo. We know about Fire Emblem. That's going to be a hit game for Nintendo. But I also think there's going to be a number of other things when it comes to big third-party games. That's going to be something that's also brought into the mix. That's going to get people to buy Nintendo Switch hardware. And what a lot of people don't understand is they say, oh, well, it's already been out on other systems, but that's not the point. You can't do certain things on other systems that you can do on the Nintendo Switch. Yes, there are people who completely rely on playing games in portable mode. This is something that's already been proven. There's been multiple people that say, I only play games this way, or I don't have a TV to where I can play games like that, or we only have one TV, or I share a room with my brother and sometimes he's using it, or my sister and sometimes they're using it, Netflix, whatever the case is. There are people who depend on that but want that console style quality. So yes, the ports that come over, or whatever ports Nintendo's doing from other systems and stuff, all that is going to help into achieving this 20 million. But the biggest thing for me is obviously Smash Brothers and Pokemon. I think Pokemon is pretty much a set lock for this fiscal year, whether it's going to be by the end of 2018, which I think Nintendo's going to get done, or early 2019. It's going to happen, because you need at least 2 massive sellers in order to get that, and you can get that with Smash Brothers and also Pokemon. But I also think another game that people aren't mentioning, which they should, is Yokai Watch 4 in Japan. That game is not being mentioned as much when people talk about achieving that 20 million, just because it might not launch in 2018 in the West. That doesn't mean it's not going to be a massive event in Japan. And remember, this game's coming out summer. That's what makes me think that Pokemon is coming out later in the year, because they want to make sure that they launch first. They get a good window in terms of opportunity to sell their game, and then later on you're going to get hit with Pokemon. But Yokai Watch is going to be huge in Japan, so I expect that to be moving a lot of systems this summer. You also have to look at some of the other stuff here. You have Project Octopath, you have Crash Bandicoot, you have Captain Toad. Games like that are also going to be really good momentum movers for the summer, because summer's usually slow, right? But Nintendo's summer is actually packed with a lot of AA to AAA slashish games. We have stuff like Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana, Kimishima, Mario Tennis Aces is going to be big in June. SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy, Nintendo's going to be helping to market and promote that. Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, Blade Strangers. There's a lot of games packed in for the summer, so that's when it really starts, right guys? I mean, that's really when things get going into high gear, is this June. Heck, even May, which we're getting into this week, May is packed as well with a number of great games from Mega Man to Street Fighter, and we used to have Dark Souls, but not anymore. But then again, there's Donkey Kong and there's Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, so there's going to be a lot of stuff for May and on the Nintendo Switch. Pretty much every single month we're getting hit with multiple games, whether it's first party ports, whether it's new games like Mario Tennis Aces, stuff like Project Octopath Traveler, or I should just say Octopath Travel. I keep on calling it Project. So to me, there is definitely a path. There's definitely a way for them to sell this 20 million, but the key to me is going to be Yokai Watch, Pokemon, and also Super Smash Brothers plus Fire Emblem. Those games should be able to get it done, along with all the other third-party games that are going to be coming, guys, and trust me, they're going to be coming. So what do you guys think about this when it comes to what Tatsumi Kimishima said and them achieving the 20 million units? I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Alright, now moving on to the next topic here, we have Nintendo submitting a left Joy-Con with stronger Bluetooth signal to the FCC. So many people have had issues with their left Joy-Con not having a strong enough signal, losing reception, just completely dropping off, just issues all over the place. Heck, one of my left Joy-Cons had some issues and I actually had to send mine into Nintendo and get it fixed, and it was lightning fast in terms of how fast they got it back to me. We're talking like a day. But what are they going to make sure going forward that this doesn't happen in any situation, right? Because some people are having issues, some people don't have any issues at all, and it's really just kind of based on stuff that's in the house. But one thing that you can do is actually just make the signal a lot stronger, and I know John from Spawnwave talked about this, but we'll see what's going down when Nintendo finally just kind of gets rid of that problem once and for all. Now, it's not necessarily the biggest issue that Nintendo's had. I mean, there's been the whole screen scratching thing that some people were experiencing, and now there was this. I mean, there's just been a multitude of little things to big things, but it seems like overall Nintendo's trying to get everything done when it comes to fixing this, and this whole thing is hopefully going to fix it just once and for all. No more issues with left Joy-Cons, which is good. You don't want to have any issues with your left Joy-Con, or which any Joy-Con really, or with your controllers when you buy them, because they're not cheap. It's not like left Joy-Cons are cheap. So just remember, guys, if you're having issues with your left Joy-Con and you bought it after March, so for example, you get like 1 year warranty on that, Nintendo will fix it for absolutely nothing. So make sure you send it in. What do you guys think about this when it comes to Nintendo fixing the Joy-Cons once and for all, submitting this new thing to the FCC? I'm planning on getting another pair of Joy-Cons at some point, so I'll probably wait till this is all said and done beforehand. So let me know you guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Alright, now moving into the last topic here, we have a very weird kind of story that's going on here. So Nintendo and the Norwegian Consumer Rights Council continue to kind of go back and forth over some eShop practices. So let's go ahead and get into what the issue is here. And the Norwegian Consumer Rights Council claimed that Nintendo was breaking the law with how they are handling pre-order cancellations on the eShop. Nintendo said that they were fully compliant with the law and had nothing to change. Now, here's the bullet points and details in terms of what's going on. Nintendo does not agree with what the Norwegian Consumer Rights Council has said. Nintendo doesn't believe that they are breaking any laws because you can preload the game instantly after pre-ordering, the performance has begun, and the sales contract is fulfilled. The council says you can't claim performance has begun until the game is playable, even though you've preloaded it. Nintendo says the legal position expressed by the council that the right to withdraw cannot be excluded before the purchased game can be downloaded and launched is, from a legal point of view, unattainable. Nintendo sends out an email at the time of purchase informing of the right to cancel and how to do it. Since Nintendo makes you agree right away, the right to cancel is forfeit when pre-ordering. Nintendo says at any time users have the choice whether they wish to pre-order a game in the Nintendo eShop or whether they wish to purchase the game after its release. Nintendo also says it is ultimately each user's decision whether they choose to pre-order a game or not. And I think the last two things there is the most important thing. Nintendo does not force anybody, or Sony or Microsoft, or anybody for that matter, does not force anybody to pre-order and pre-download the game, okay? So if you want to do that, you need to make sure that you want that game. Like, you shouldn't be pre-ordering a game and saying, oh, I have to cancel this pre-order. Just wait. It's not that big of a deal, and Nintendo's even telling you that right there at the end. Obviously, they want you to pre-order, but you don't have to. Just wait till after the release. If you pre-order a game and preload, you better make sure that you want that game. I don't really think that this is any type of anti-consumer or anything like that. If you want to pre-order it and you want to pre-download it, make sure you want the game. If you don't, then just wait. Just have some self-control. So I want to repeat the two things that they said here at the bottom. Nintendo says at any time users have the choice whether to wish to pre-order a game in the Nintendo eShop or whether they wish to purchase the game after its release. Exactly, you have the choice. So if you make the choice to pre-order and pre-download, you are essentially buying that game, you are downloading that game to your system, and if you wanted to cancel that, Nintendo would have to somehow wipe that data that they've already had on your system. So that is just weird. That is just weird. If you want to pre-order, you pre-order. If you don't want to pre-order, then wait till after release. I do not pre-order anything on the eShop because just in case I don't want that game or whatever it is, I can make my own decision. So don't do that, or at least wait till the last possible time if you know good and well that you have the money and everything. You don't need to preload and all that way beforehand and change your mind or something comes up and you don't have the money or whatever the case is, but you have to pay for it anyway, so you do have the money. I understand like being able to cancel pre-orders more easily. I know that it could be like somewhat of a long process or whatever the case is, but you should really make sure that you want the game before you pre-order it. I mean, I barely pre-order anything unless it's a special edition. That's really the only time that you should be pre-ordering anything is special editions, because you don't know how many of those they're going to get. That's the only stuff that I pre-order is special editions. Otherwise, I just buy it on launch day. God of War, bought it on launch day. Most of Nintendo's games here, Splatoon 2, all that stuff, bought it on launch day. The only stuff that I pre-order is special editions, like my Fire Emblem Warriors, stuff like that. I think I pre-ordered the Persona 5 special edition. That's the only stuff that you should be pre-ordering because those are limited, but not just regular games, not just and digital games. Like, don't even get me started on pre-ordering digital stuff. So I understand for those who want to pre-order because they know they want the game, they know they want digital, and they know they want to play it right there at launch, I get it. But if you're iffy on it, if you're iffy at all, or you could potentially need to have the money for something else, then you shouldn't be pre-ordering and preloading games on your system, plain and simple, like Nintendo just tells you right then and there. So that's my take on it. I've never been big on preload or pre-ordering digital games. That doesn't even make sense to me. I've never been big on that. If you want the game, you can take the time to wait and just pre-order it like right before, when you know good and well that you want the game. You don't have to do it so many days in advance. So that's my take on the matter. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. All right, Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of Player Essence across the internet in addition to YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube live gaming pages and consider supporting Player Essence. When you do so, it gets you access to all sorts of cool benefits, perks, rewards, and emotes via YouTube sponsorship. So check out the link in the description below and consider supporting Player Essence right here on YouTube. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to Player Essence for the latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you, Ninja, for the next video. Peace.